This is a walkthrough for the AQA GCSE Maths paper, Calculator Foundation from June 2024. Okay, question 1, write 0.27 as a fraction. Okay, well I like to think of it as a percentage first by timesing it by 100. 27 is the same as 0.27 is the same as 27%. I'm now going to write this as a fraction. To write a percentage as a fraction, percentage means out of 100, so we just need to write it out of 100. So 27 out of 100. Write 2/5 as a decimal. Again, I like to change it to a percentage first. Percentage means out of 100. So I need to make 2/5 into an equivalent fraction out of 100. What would you multiply 5 by to get 100? 20. Multiply 2 by 20 to get 40 out of 100. 40%. Change the percent to a decimal by dividing by 100, 0.4. Write 0.35 as a percentage. To convert a decimal to a percentage, you times it by 100, 35%. Simplify x plus 4x, or 1x plus 4x is 5x. Multiply, simplify fully, 5 times 2w. 5 times 2 is 10, 10w. Simplify fully, 2m divided by m. M divided by m is 1, so we're left with 2. Simplify fully, y times y times y cubed. So people often mix this one up with y plus y plus y. Y plus y plus y is 3y. Times them together, power 3. Here is a quadrilateral. Write down the letter of the obtuse angle. So acute angles are less than 90 degrees. A is acute, B is a right angle, D is acute, C is obtuse because it is bigger than 90 degrees, smaller than 180. Write down the letter of an acute angle. You could either have A or D. How many lines of symmetry does this shape have? Can we fold this shape at all so it will fold into itself exactly? No, we can't, so it's 0 lines of symmetry. Question 4. One lettuce costs £1.29. How much does 7 of these lettuces cost? So just 7 times £1.29. The calculator paper, so we can use our calculators. £9.03. 5 cucumbers cost £6.40 in total. How much do 2 of these cucumbers cost? I need to work out the price of 1 cucumber first, so I'm going to divide this value by 5. So 1 cucumber is £1.28. Times it by 2 to get 2 cucumbers, £2.56. Question 5. Company sells 3 types of bottle. The pictogram shows how many bottles they sold 1 week. These four rectangles represent 20 bottles. The company sold more plastic bottles than glass bottles that week. How many more? So more plastic than glass. How many glass? 20, 40. How many plastic? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. How many more plastic? So 100 take away 40, 60. The company sells each steel bottle for £17.50. Work out the total amount of money made from selling steel bottles this week. Well, how many steel bottles have we sold? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 20 bottles is 120. Now we've got this little rectangle here. So if the whole thing represents 20, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So this is 5. So we've sold 125 bottles at £17.50 each. So I need to multiply by £17.50 to work out the total. £2,187.50. Question 6. Shape A, B, C, D, E is drawn on a centimetre grid. Complete the statement AB to something, another length is 5 to 1. That is 5 centimetres. DC is 1 centimetre, so AB to DC is 5 to 1. On this grid, draw a rectangle the same area as shape ABCD. What is the area? Let's count the full squares first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 full squares. 2 halves make 1. That's plus another 1. And those 2 halves make 1, so plus another 1. So we need a rectangle with area 10 centimetres. So I'm going to do a 2 by 5. Could have had a 10 by 1. Okay, next question. Use a rule of this question. Here is an accurate drawing of an equilateral triangle. By measuring, work out the perimeter of the triangle, state the units. So I've kind of enlarged this on the online whiteboard. If you've got the paper printed out, what you should have got for this is, okay, so the measurement is 7.4 centimetres, but they have allowed, so you would have measured that as 7.4 centimetres, an equilateral triangles that are all the same. They would have allowed an error of 2 millimetres each way. So anything from 7.2 to 7.6 would have got your marks here. Work out the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape. 7.4 times 3, 22.2. State the units in your answer, centimetres. That's for the last mark of these 3 marks. Question 8. There are 56 cubes in a box. The cubes are green, red, blue or white. 17 of the cubes are green. There's an equal number of red, blue and white cubes. How many red cubes are there in the box? So if we know there are 17 green, let's do 56, take away 17 first, which is 39. I need to split that between red, blue and white. So 39 divided by 3 is 13, so there are 13 red cubes. 24 more cubes are added to the box. So now, in total, there are 80 cubes. A cube is picked at random. The probability that the cube is green is 0.4. How many of the 24 cubes added to the box are green? Okay, so the probability that the cube is green is 0.4. 0.4 as a fraction is 4/10. So 4 in every 10 of the cubes are green. So out of 80 cubes though, so how many green cubes are there in total? 10 times 8 is 80. 4 times 8 is an equivalent fraction, so we need to multiply the denominator and numerator by the same thing as 32. So I know there are 32 cubes, green cubes in total. This is not the answer. How many of the 24 cubes, the ones that were added, are green? So I need to take off the original 17. 32 take away 17 equals 15. So 15 green cubes were added from the 24. Final answer. Question 9. An electric car uses 1 unit of electricity to travel 3 miles. 1 unit of electricity costs 50 pence. Work out the cost of electricity in pounds to travel 270 miles. So it's 1 unit of electricity for 3 miles. How many, lots of 3 miles are in 270? That's your first step. So 270 divided by 3 is 90. So if you think about it, you've got 90 times 3 is 270. It's 90, lots of 3 miles. so I need 90 units. 1 unit of electricity costs 50p, so 90 times 50 will give me the cost in pence, 4,500 pence, which is £45, because the £1 is 100 pence. Lima buys 2 metres of linen at £8.50 per litre. She also buys 5 metres of cotton. The total cost is £38. What is the cost of 1 metre of cotton? Okay, so the linen is £8.50 per metre. She buys 2 metres, £8.50 times 2 is £17. I need to take this away from the 38 because the total cost is 38. So 38 take away 17 is £21. And I need to divide it by 5 because it's 5 metres of cotton. So £4.20 for 1 metre. Buttons cost 65p each. The greatest number of buttons Lima can buy with £5 is 7. She says the greatest number of buttons I can buy with £10 is 14 because £10 is double £5. Is she correct? Well, let's just have a look. What's £10? We can't divide it by 65p because it needs to be the same units. Pounds, this needs to be pounds. 65p divided by 100 is 0.65. 10 divided by 0.65 is, what's a decimal, but it's 15 point something, so it would be 15. A B, the greatest number of buttons she can buy. 15 is more than double 7, so is she correct? No. Here's my working out. She can buy 15 with £10. Here is a table of values for the equation y equals 3x plus 1. Draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 1 for the values of x between 1 and 4. X is 4, y is 13, so we need to go 4 to 13 and draw a little cross. X is 3, y is 10, and x is 3, y is 10, and x is 2, y is 7, x is 2, y is 7. When x is 1, y is 4, x is 1, y is 4. And I'm going to draw a straight line. Work out the value of y when x is 2.5. So I need to find 2.5 on my x-axis, which is here. And I'm going to read across. Which takes me to just above 8 here. So what's the scale on this y-axis? So between 0 and 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. 2 divided by 5, obviously you can use your calculator for this, is 0.4. So it's going up in 0.4, so it would be 8.4. A code has 5 different digits written in order, smallest, starting with the smallest. The last digit is the only square number, the middle digit is the only even number. Work out the code. Okay, well I'm going to use my square number as 3 times 3 is 9. 9 is going to be my last number. Middle digit is the only even number, and the numbers are written from smallest to largest. And it says 5 different digits, so you can't use the number 12. It's going to be single digits. So this one would have to be 6 because it's even. So I have this as 7. The rest have to be odd. 5 and 3. Could not use 1 because 1's a square number. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 is the only square number. Sorry, 9 is the square number I'm using, so I can't use any others. 13. 4 numbers have a mean of 10. 3 of the numbers are 5, 8 and 9. Work out the other number. To have a mean of 10, if 4 numbers have a mean of 10, Well, what's the total? So if I add up the four numbers, divide by 4, the answer is equal to 10. 10 times 4 is 40, so they've got to add up to make 40. At the moment, they add to make 22. So 40 take away 22 is 18. The last number, would have to be 18. 14. Rearrange D equals H minus 4 to make H a subject. So I need to add 4 to both sides because I want to get H by itself. I need to get rid of the minus 4, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So D plus 4 is equal to H. So H is equal to D plus 4. Make W the subject. What's the opposite of divide by 3? Times by 3. We need to divide both sides by 3. 3 times P is 3P. W divided by 3 times 3 gets rid of the 3 and you're left with W. So W equals 3P. 15. A linear sequence begins. 2, 5, 8, 11. Work out an expression for the nth term. Well, it's going up in threes. So we know it's like the 3 times table, so it starts off as 3n. I write down the 3 times table underneath. Can you see the numbers in my sequence are 1 less than the 3 times table, so it's 3n take away 1. The diagram shows a circle centre 0 and 3 straight lines. Use one word to describe each shaded region. Region A is a segment. Region B is a sector. An arc would be part of your circumference, so more like this. A chord is this, that's a chord. And a tangent would be a line, a straight line touching your circle. Question 17, work out the addition of these two vectors. 1 plus 4 is 5, 2 plus 6 is 8. Bag A and bag B contain counters. Bag A, a quarter are red, the rest are blue. So a quarter are red, 3/4 are blue. Bag B, 3 are white, 2 are green. So we've got 5 in total. So 3 out of 5 are white, 2 out of 5 green, 3 out of 5 white, 2 out of 5 green. One counter is taken at random from each bag. Work out the probability that one is red and one is white. So you've got red, white here. So it's a red and a white. So a quarter times 3/5. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 5 is 20. So it's 3/20. Use trigonometry. So this is a SOHCAHTOA question. Here's the angle. This is the opposite length. Right angle, hypotenuse. So what uses O and H? SOH. Sine angle at the bottom. O goes at the top, which is X. H goes on the bottom right, which is 31. So when they're in this arrangement in the triangle, we multiply sine 24 by 31. 12.6. The mass of an iceberg is 2,200,000 kilograms. This value is a 12% reduction from the original mass of the iceberg. Work out the original mass of the iceberg, give your answer in standard form. Okay, well, if it's a 12% reduction on the original mass, 100 minus 100% is the original, right? So 100 minus 12 is 88%. So this 2,200,000 represents 88%. So I want to know what 100% is. I'm going to get 1% first and then 100%. How do I get 1%? I need to divide this by 88. Which is 25,000. And then to get 100%, I need to multiply it by 100, which is 2,500,000. Give your answer in standard form. So it's 2.5. First number needs to be between 1 and 10 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I imagine my point is here, I need to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get it here. So 2.5 times 10 to the 6. The chef has a tub of blueberries. She wants to use all the blueberries. Put the same number of blueberries in each dessert. D is equal to K over B. D is the number of desserts. B is the number of blueberries on each dessert. What does a K represent? It says first option, the number of blueberries in the tub. Because if you think about it, the number of blueberries in the tub divided by the number of blueberries on each dessert will give you the number of desserts. Complete the table. Okay, so we need to work out what K is. How many blueberries are there in total? We know D equals K over B. D is 120. K, we're not sure of yet, but B is 2. Times both sides by 2 to solve this equation to find K. 120 times 2 is 240. There are 240 blueberries. So how do we work out this value here? Well, D is equal to 240 divided by 6, 40. Here, D is equal to, we know D. So I can say 30 is equal to 240 over B. We're not sure what B is, but we need to make B the subject here. So I'm going to times both sides by B, which gives us 30B equals 240. And I'm going to divide both sides by 30. 240 over 30 equals 8. The first spinner has 6 equal sections, each with the number 5, 6, 7 or 8. Each number appears at least once. So let me put one in at least once. Probability of an even number is exactly the same as the probability of a 7. Right, well, I've got to have more than 1 7 because I've already got 2 even numbers. So let's put on another 7 here. Probability of getting a 7 is 2 out of 6. Probability of getting an even number is also 2 out of 6. I just need to fill this in with an odd number. So it's got to be 5 because I don't want any more 7s. To work out the probability of getting a 5, 2 out of 6. A different spinner has 10 sections, each labelled A, B, C, D. Give one reason why there must be a mistake in the table. Let's add all of these. 1.1, well, it's got to be wrong because probability of an event is equal to 1. The probability over 1 is my reason. Here is a sketch of the graph y equals minus 2x plus 6. The coordinates of C and D. Okay, so for C, can you see the x coordinate is 0? I know the equation is y equals minus 2x plus 6. If I substitute in x is equal to 0 here, y is equal to minus 2 times 0 plus 6. Minus 2 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is 6. So C is 0, 6. I can do the same here, but replace the y with a 0, because at this point on the x-axis, y is equal to 0. So I'm going to sub that into this equation. 0 equals minus 2x plus 6. I need to make x a subject, so I need to minus 6 from both sides. Now I need to divide both sides by minus 2, which gives x is 3. Here is a sketch of a quadratic graph. Complete the following statements. The value of the y-intercept. Where does it go through the y-axis? 5. The x-coordinate of the turning point. Well, there's the x-coordinate of the turning point. See, this graph is symmetrical. So there's 8 from 0 to 8 and 2 on the other side, which gives 10 in total. Half of 10 is 5, so there must be 5 on each side of here. So 8 take away 5 is 3, so it would be 3. Archie flips the buyer's coin 200 times. Here is some information about the outcomes after each 50 flips. So after 50, there were 10 heads. After 100, there were 27, etc. Work out the best estimate of the probability of flipping a head. It's got to be this one, isn't it? Because there are more trials. So it's 52 out of 200. You can have that as a decimal if you want, which would be 0.26. Either of those is fine, and the reason is greatest number of trials. A lion is sprinting in a straight line away from its den. The graph shows the lion's distance from the den. Work out the speed of the lion in meters per second. Well, speed equals distance over time. You might get that from one of these triangles. You might just know that formula. So the time is 5. What about the distance? The distance he's travelled is from here to here. 25 divided by 5 is 5, so it's going up in 5, so that'll be 30. 25, 30. 125, 120. 120 take away 30 is 90. 90 divided by 5 is 18, so the answer is 18 meters per second.